necromancers. Good day to you, partner. I'm Guy, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken kingdom.
Hey guys, we Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. So, as I suggested, I think you should keep the Act 1 Vigor Merc on almost any build basically for the entirety of your normal clear progression. And then, well, barring having Sorceress and having the best teleport skill in the game just for free, or actually having Vigor on your Paladin. But besides that, Vigor is super good, and then you should kind of keep it for a bit anyways, because Necromancers are stupid and slow, and their pets are more stupid and more slow. I mean, they're following this guy, but you know, the bar for following people in the world right now is pretty low, so let's give our summons a little bit of a break. But if we were to pick the dumb ones, it would be the golems, especially the clay golems, because they're dumb as dirt. Woohoo! Man, my jokes are killing it today. All right. So we switched to Act 4 Merc because we have a Collins legacy, so we have Vigor. And then I just wanted to highlight again that Pus Spitter is such a good option early on every single Act 1 Merc. And please don't run Act 1 Physical Merc for no reason. Just one last little shout out for that. Their abilities have been so nerfed. I guess if you get DM, Strafe is probably good enough. But I really don't think you're gaining much just for the little bit of DM procs now and the low damage they are. But yeah, in-game Innocence still kind of works, but the damage is a lot lower. But, you know, Necromancer pets kind of fill that in with mages, archers, etc. Okay, staying on topic, I promise. Act 4 Merc, Act Light and Dark. Now, the Light Merc is probably... I think at this level, I couldn't tell much of a difference between the light and the dark merc. And in fact, I kind of liked Teeth in a lot of situations because I felt like it just helped take one tick off of the necessary ticks to kill like a group of enemies from my fire golems. But the big difference really between the Act 4 light and dark merc, at least at this point, is the fact that the light merc does seem to be more consistent. For one, I don't want the Dark Merc to cast Amp. I have 10 CM myself, and so I like casting Lower Resist and Weaken. And even if I just want to cast Lower Resist, like Amp does nothing for me. So, although I really think the Dark Merc, like if you're going to be farming Trav with Clay Golems, I think Dark Merc just might be the best option unless you get like a very high damage two-hand weapon early on, then either go with the Act 5 or the Act 2 Town Guard, right? Because they'll just do most of the damage and getting 1 point amp isn't that big of a deal. But these mercs, as you'll see when I show Act 4 later, that with I mean, Spire of Lazarus is a pretty cool piece of gear, to be honest. But the gear is nothing special, you know, like the Naja's 2-piece. Spire of Lazarus is pretty cool, and then they have literally a junk pair of gloves, no FCR, junk belt, and then Rite of Passage for CBF. Just a classic CBF pair of boots. Now, if you can, what's really cool, though, is if you get basically the Naj set or Spire Lazarus, and then you just basically get FCR on your gloves, they're basically at the 125 FCR breakpoint. And I also have a Flickering Flame, but it's only a level 2. Someone gave it to me, and I don't even think it's worth having to deal with, because at this point, I'm spamming games so quickly. And I think having the Merc just be a little bit better is better off than me wasting time trying to resummon my Fire Golems every game. Because yes, guys, it only works if you're outside of town and the aura is affecting your character. So is it worth? It's 20% damage, actually, because you get the 10% to the skill, then you summon the Fire Golem, and the Fire Golem gets another 10%, or 21%. And I love this game. I love how this game spawns this, like, sacred tomb literally right next to the town. I mean, I guess it's good for commuting. You know, when the dead need to commute back to work. Because literally, the world has decided that poor people are only here to propagate for the very few select wealthy. And you know what? Maybe that's a good life. It could be. I'll ask my Light and Dark Mercs about it. Okay, so Light Merc is dead. We're switching to the Dark Merc. And I think I think you're going to notice they're really, really similar at this point. But people are telling me, see, this is why I like Teeth. I think Teeth is really good in that situation. And although I think that the Act 4 Merc is clearly superior single target, fire golems really don't need that much help single target unless you're trying to kill fire immunes, which is one thing I find annoying about Glacial Trail and the Icy Cellar, is that if it spawns Moonlords, it's basically not worth farming. So talking about farming as fire specifically, I think, like, this is an example of there being no Moonlords, and all of a sudden you get a nice 83 zone and a nice 85 zone, although unfortunately the Icy Cellar still spawns the Moonlord this time. But this area does feel good as long as there aren't those Cow Lords. But if you just farm Stony Tomb, new game, Stony Tomb, new game, it feels pretty good. And also the cool thing about the Stony Tombs now is you get those little cool rooms at the end where you get like 3 caskets or a bunch of chests, and I think it feels good. Now, what do I think about Maggot? I think Maggot's fine, but I could totally understand not wanting to do it, and sometimes I don't want to do it because it is kind of a waste of time getting there. But it's not that bad to farm anymore. The density's pretty good, the area's pretty good, and with Blood Warp even 1 point, it feels fine. And also, I think Maggot has low-key a great soundtrack. So what do I plan to do with the Act 4 Mercenaries? Because unfortunately, the information isn't really up about what their damage really is. I believe they got 2% mastery in the beta, but I was looking at the old patch notes and they didn't even have it listed. So I'm going to be doing DPS tests next on the Act 4 Mercenary, probably just at a higher level, maybe a low level one too, but basically I want to get an idea about them budget, mid-game, in-game, and then hopefully try to capture their damage with level scaling as well, because people, again, are telling me that the Act 4 Light Merc scales way better than the Dark Mercenary now. So, like, even if the Dark Mercenary is as good as the Light Merc right now and also has Amp, which might benefit your character more, basically, as they level up, the Act 4 Merc is going to, the Light version is going to outtake him pretty badly. And so that's next on the docket there, and I think that'll be interesting. I hope so. And I am farming again. I hit level 84, and I plan to hit level 90 by the end of the week. And also, there were some other gear options, like the Heaven's Brethren set is really good. And also, one last shout-out to Zazabis, which the 2-piece gives you 40% FCR, and I believe 40% faster hit recovery as well. So, Skelly King out, guys. GG.
Play with us, Daddy. Forever.